Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the Profusion Cosmetics Kaleidescope Palette and their eyeshadow primer. Let's backtrack to a couple of years ago. If you've been with me at least that long, you might remember that I bought the Profusion Festival palette a couple of years ago. Didn't really like it much and didn't use it very often and ended up decluttering it. Well, over the course of the 2 years, people whose opinions I respect, people that I subscribe to here on YouTube, kept saying how much they enjoyed the Profusion palettes. And I thought to myself, why do they enjoy them and they didn't work for me? I figured it out. Do you remember in my Profusion Cosmetics foundation video, I talked about how certain products just don't work with each other? Well, that is, I think, what was happening with the Festival palette. Because at that time, I've since gone back and looked, at the information that I put in the description box of my videos. At that time, I was using Makeup Revolution eyeshadow primer. And I think what was going on is something about that formula of eyeshadow primer didn't work with the Profusion eyeshadows. Didn't even occur to me at the time. But yeah, I've had that problem before where I'll be testing out a palette and then the eyeshadow primer that I'm using doesn't, something about the chemicals or whatever that are in the formula doesn't mesh with the chemicals or ingredients, I should say, in an eyeshadow palette of a specific brand. So if you ever have that problem, try switching up your eyeshadow primer and you may get a completely different result. That has happened more times than I can count. So anyway, I thought, okay, I'm going to give Profusion a second chance. And so I went to Walmart and I looked at what that particular Walmart had for palettes. And even though I think I might have said in a video that I didn't want any more super large palettes, yeah. So this is the Kaleidoscope palette. This was $18 at Walmart. And it's a big one. It's 42 shades. It's huge. It's heavy. I dropped it on my foot the other day, and now I have a bruise that's like green on my foot. You know how when a bruise heals, it turns all different colors? So yeah, be very careful with this because it's super heavy, and now I have a big green lump on my foot. None of the shadows broke though. So yeah, 42 shades. Okay, now what's interesting about this is if you go to the Profusion website, it says, let me open it up so that you don't get that glare. If you go to the Profusion website, oh, by the way, don't throw away that plastic sheet that comes with it. I'll tell you why in a couple of minutes. If you go to the Profusion website, they will tell you that this contains satins, glitters, mattes, shimmers, and duochromes. Doesn't say anything about the fact that some of these are cream shadows. I've watched other people's videos and read the comments section of those videos, and people were commenting saying, why did they put creams in here? I don't know that it was intentional. I think that maybe they were trying to make them nice and like blendable and almost borderline wet, and maybe there was an ingredient that they put too much of. I don't know, but see how some of the shades have like these marks in them? That's because those are so moist or wet that I would call them a cream shadow. And it seems to be the metallic shades that are that way. So what I do is, if I want to use one of those colors, I'll do a look and then I'll just stick my finger in that one at the end and just tap it on my lids. That's what I did today. Let me break down the look that I have on today. So I took Witty and I used that in the crease and went up high with it almost to use it like a transition shade. And then I went into Fern and I put that all over the lids. Then I used Beat and I put that in the crease. I put Provider, tapped that all over my lids, and I took Alive and put that underneath the lower lash line. And I think I did use one more. I think I Buttercup. Yeah, I took Buttercup and I have that like in the inner corner. And I took Spangle and I put that underneath my brow bone and in the inner corners. So I got a lot. I've got a lot going on with this eyeshadow look. I don't think I'd be able to recreate it if I tried, because I used so many different shadows in so many different places, and they're like layered over each other. But that's one of the things that impressed me about this palette, is that you can do that. You can use as many shadows as you want and they don't start to get muddy or anything like that. You can just keep going in with different colors, putting them in different places, putting them on top of each other, and they blend beautifully. And by the way, talking about using a different eyeshadow primer, my solution to that problem, I was not taking any chances with just using some other eyeshadow primer that I had laying around. I got theirs. And it's the Profusion Cosmetics No Budge Eyeshadow Primer. It's only $4 and it's really good. I love the way the eyeshadows go on over it. And when I use the shadows that have glitter in them, everything sticks really well to this eyeshadow primer. I've even tested out the pressed glitters that are on the bottom row, and they even stick to that very well. I don't normally like to use pressed glitters, but I figured I should use at least one of these just to test it out, and they performed fine. I just am afraid of pressed glitters, honestly, because if you get a glitter in your eye, it can cut your eyeball. So, okay, so let's talk about that. 42 shades in the palette, and you might be wondering, what are those little silver X's? What's that all about? Well, some of these shadows are not considered eye safe. So I wanted to be able to look at this palette and easily know which ones. Wow, did you see that? What is the camera doing? Oh gosh, hopefully that won't keep happening. Wow, what's going on here? I'm gonna stop and restart the camera to see if I can make that stop doing that. Okay, so I restarted the camera and I adjusted the lighting a little bit too. Sometimes I think if you have too much light, it can make it do that. I don't know why. Anyway, so I was talking about how there are shades in here that are not eye safe. So I wanted to be able to look at the palette and easily recognize which ones were eye safe and which ones were not. All the ones, yeah, that's what's causing the camera to mess up. It's the reflection of this palette. Okay, anyway, all those ones with little X's, are the ones that have either unsafe glitter or they are a pressed pigment, which is not considered eye safe. So I will use those shades, but I just don't want to use them as frequently as the ones that are eye safe. So I've been playing with this palette for several days now, and I have yet to hit like any duds or anything in the palette. Everything seems to perform beautifully. So I think that's what the problem was when I had that other palette. I think it was the eyeshadow primer just not working with it, because I have had no issues with this. Now, if you go to Walmart, you're going to see a variety of palettes, and you may not see the same ones at one Walmart as what you see at another. So I'm just mentioning that in case you go to your Walmart and you don't see anything that you like, try a different Walmart. Or just go on the Profusion website and you can just order from them directly if you want to. So yeah, I'm very impressed with this palette, and there's so many shades in here that I don't want to swatch the whole palette, but at the same time I would like to swatch a few shades, so just so that you can get an idea about the texture and whatnot. Oh, one more thing I did want to mention about the eyeshadow primer. It does intensify whatever you put over it, because I've noticed that the shades look just a little bit deeper on my skin than they do in the palette, and I think that's because of this. So this is a very good eyeshadow primer, and I would recommend this too. Just wanted to mention that. Okay, so let's see. What should we swatch here? Geez, I'm not sure which ones you guys would be most interested in. I find it odd that the 4 shades on the side here that I guess they thought would be like crease shades or transition shades for some people, that they would put pressed pigments for those. I was really kind of thrown a little bit by that. But let's see, which shades would you be most interested in? Well, I'm wearing this gold one that's like a cream metallic, so why don't I swatch another one of those? Let's see. I don't know, Deceiver? It feels so funny, you guys. It feels so funny when you touch it. Okay, so that one is eye safe, and that's why I feel like it's not quite as vibrant. But don't forget, like I said, with eyeshadow primer underneath it, it's going to be deeper, more pigmented, etc. Okay, let's swatch one of the ones that are not eye safe. A lot of people are interested in reds in a palette because it's such a rare thing. So Heat Wave is the deep red. So that's what it looks like on my finger. Yeah, you can tell that's a pressed pigment, right? Okay, why don't I swatch one of the pressed glitters? Let's see. Let's do this one, because this is sort of it's silver, but it also has blue in it, so that would be like a duochrome. Okay, that's what it looks like on my finger. And keep in mind, that's over no primer. But see how it's like blue, silver, depending on what angle you look at it at. Okay, just had to wipe off my fingers there. Let's see, what other ones would I think you guys would be interested in? This shade right here is called Groove, and it's a purple shimmer. And I used that one day, and it's really, really pretty. Just a really pretty shade of purple. So that's Groove. Okay. How about some of these crease shades? I'm gonna say Comfy, Tart, Russet, Changes. It's so awkward. Uh-oh, I just hit a button that I didn't mean to hit. It's so awkward holding this palette because it's so heavy. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, of the 4, I kind of like that one the best in terms of how well it shows up and how well it blends and whatnot. And I did use that one in a look, and it was very nice. Okay, let's see. Like I said, I can't do all of them. There's just too many. So how about this one right here called Irreplaceable? It's such a pretty, like, pinky shade, but it looks like a duochrome. It looks like it might have some blue in there. Oh, this is one of the cream ones. Yeah, I didn't even realize that because I don't think I've swatched that one yet. Yeah, that's really pretty. So anything that is one of those cream ones, I use that like on my lids and just pat it on with my finger, and it's fine. And it doesn't seem to move around or melt or anything because we've had some warm temperatures and I haven't had any issues with that. So yeah, now that I have used their eyeshadow primer, I would recommend Profusion palettes. I mean, this is the only one that I've bought since I got their eyeshadow primer, but now I feel bad that I got rid of that festival palette, but that was a couple of years ago, so you're not really supposed to keep eyeshadow palettes more than a couple of years anyway, just because of, you know, they develop bacteria and they expire and all that, so I probably would have had to get rid of it anyway, but yeah, I really like this, and if you have any questions or anything, let me know, and I guess that's it, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.